Hey everyone, welcome. So, have you ever been curious about blockchain, but felt, a little overwhelmed by all the technical jargon? Well, you're in the right place. Today, we're going to cut through all that noise and guide you step by step to understanding your very first smart contract.
So, let's kick things off with a pretty huge idea, a question that's really at the absolute heart of blockchain. Just imagine for a second, what if our agreements could enforce themselves? Automatically, with no middleman, no third party needed. That's the big promise we're going to dig into today. Okay, so here's what we've got on deck. We'll start with the what. What even is a smart contract? Then we'll cover the where and the how. After that, and this is the fun part, we're going to get hands-on and actually write some code. And we'll wrap it all up with some key principles to guide you as you get started. All right, first up, let's tackle that big question right off the bat. What is a smart contract anyway?
The absolute best way to think about a smart contract is to picture a super-powered vending machine. Think about it. You put a coin in, that's your condition being met. And the machine is programmed to automatically give you a soda. That's the outcome. There's no cashier, no room for argument, right? The rules are just built in. Smart contracts work the exact same way, just with code living on a blockchain.
And this table, man, it just lays it all out. With old-school contracts, you need lawyers and courts to enforce them. With smart contracts, the code does it automatically. And the speed difference is just insane. We're talking seconds instead of months. So what you're really doing is swapping out that slow, expensive trust in people and institutions for fast, transparent, and super efficient trust in pure code. Okay, so if a smart contract is just a program, where does it actually live? Where does it run? Well, that brings us to our next piece of the puzzle, Ethereum, the world computer. Now, don't get me wrong, Bitcoin was absolutely revolutionary, but it was built to do one thing really, really well, be digital cash. But Ethereum's creator, a guy named Vitalik Buterin, he looked at that and thought, wait a minute, what if a blockchain could be more? What if it could be a single global computer for running any kind of app? And that big vision is what became Ethereum. And this is where you really see the night and day difference. Bitcoin's code is very limited, on purpose, mainly for security. But Ethereum is what we call Turing complete, which is just a fancy way of saying it was built from the ground up to run basically any program you can dream of. And that's the game changer. This capability is the bedrock for, well, everything. DeFi, NFTs, autonomous organizations, it's the launchpad for a whole new kind of internet. So what's the engine powering all this? It's something called the Ethereum Virtual Machine, or EVM. I want you to picture it as one giant single computer, but it's being run by thousands of individual machines all across the globe. When your smart contract runs, every single one of those machines runs the exact same calculation, making sure they all agree on the result. That's what makes the whole system so incredibly secure and trustworthy. Okay, so we've got the what and the where down. Now for the fun part, the how. How do you actually speak to this world computer? Well, you need a language. The go-to language for writing on Ethereum is called Solidity. And here's the best part, especially if you're a developer. It was designed to look and feel a lot like other popular languages like JavaScript. That was a really smart choice because it made it so much easier for a massive community of developers to jump in and start building cool stuff. And check this out. You don't need some weird custom-built software to do this. You can actually write, test, and launch your smart contracts using tools you probably already know and love, like the code editor, Visual Studio Code. The barrier to entry is lower than you might think. Okay, enough talk. This is where the rubber meets the road. Let's stop just talking about it and actually do it. We're going to walk through your very first program on the blockchain.
In the world of programming, there's this tradition that goes way, way back. Hello World is pretty much the first thing every single developer writes. It's more than just getting some text to appear on a screen. It's like a rite of passage. It's that moment you prove to yourself, hey, my setup works. I can do this. It builds that first bit of crucial confidence.
And really, it all comes down to 3 simple steps. First, we're going to write the code. Second, we're going to make sure we understand what it's doing. And third, we're going to deploy it, put it out there on the blockchain so we can actually interact with it.
So here it is. This is it, your first smart contract. It might look a little strange at first, but it's actually pretty simple. All we're doing is creating one single action, a function, that when we call it will return the message, hello world. That's the whole thing. Okay, so let's walk through this, word by word. Function? Well, that just tells the computer we're defining a new action. Get hello message is what we're calling it. That's its name. Public means exactly what it sounds like. Anyone on the entire network can call this function. Now, view is really important. It means this function only looks at data, it doesn't change anything, which makes it super efficient. And finally, return string just tells us it's going to give back a line of text. See? Simple as that.
And this is the magic part. The moment you deploy this code, it's out there. It becomes a permanent, unchangeable piece of the global network. It gets its own unique address on the blockchain, and from then on, anyone, anywhere in the world can call it and get that hello world message back. Think about that. You've just created your first tiny, permanent, global application. Pretty cool, right?
All right, that was awesome. You've seen the whole process, right from an idea to actual working code. So before we finish up, let's talk about what's next and cover a few key principles to keep in mind.
So as you start thinking about what you want to build, I want you to keep these 4 principles in mind. They're kind of like your North Star for building really great decentralized apps. First up, design for trust. Remember, your code is literally the law here, so it has to be transparent and secure. Second, enforce consistency. A clean, consistent app just feels better and helps people trust it. Third, keep it simple. Seriously, do one thing and do it really, really well. And finally, and this is a big one, always remember that every single thing you do on the blockchain costs something. So, be efficient. Design smart. So there you have it. We started with this simple but powerful question, what if code could be law? And we followed it all the way from concept to code. You've seen the what, the where, and the how. And that leaves just one final exciting question. For you, you have the building blocks now. What problem are you going to solve first?